Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is the Grappling Hook Mod, one that allows you to scale surfaces, as well as a little bit more interesting of things. Maybe swinging around. Oh, all sorts of fun can be had, and it's not just about the grappling hooks either, but that is a big focus of what this mod's all about. So, now that I have your attention, or at least I hope I do, let's start out with the Grappling Hook Mod, which it is made by Yyon, or, well, that's how I think it's pronounced, Y-O-N. But anyway, thank you for this wonderful mod. It is made very interestingly. There are a lot of aspects to it, but I'm going to focus mostly on the grappling hook, though I will showcase some of the other stuff. For now, let's just look this up here. So there are a couple things that you're going to want to start with, and that is one, a grappling hook, which is very simple. A lead and an iron pickaxe. Gets you a lot of fun and potentially a bit of fall damage, depending upon how good or bad you are with the grappling hook. On top of that, you're going to want a grappling hook modifier, which will require an anvil, which is a lot of iron, of course, plus base grappling hook upgrades, which don't do anything except for allow you different upgrade bases. But those are made with some gold and some string. So actually, I find this recipe quite nice because often you don't have much to do with your gold in Minecraft. But anyway, I digress. Let us continue. If I have this, a grappling hook, you notice it does have durability. Yes, you can enchant it with different things like unbreaking and mending and stuff like that. Curse of vanishing, hooray! But you can also use it in other ways. Now, first thing you're usually going to do when you get one of these things here, a grappling hook, its default setting is going to be rather boring when you first start, or at least that's what it's going to appear as. I'm going to right click, it shoots out this, and what happens? I can't move any further this way. It can only move towards it. What is going on? I'm pressing shift and I'm slowly moving. I don't understand. It's more a vertical tool than it is a horizontal tool. So it's not going to work really good to start with across flat surfaces. Later on though, it will be very strong in that aspect. Now, when moving upwards, if I right-click up here, and I press W to move forward and sneak in order to enhance this, I will start climbing up. If I press S, or backwards, I will start going down. I don't have to look in either of these directions to do this. Allow me to demonstrate, as you saw at the beginning of the video. Now, if I want, I can actually do a little bit of a sway by pressing left and right, and having a little bit of fun with this, and then letting go and stuff. It can be a bit of entertainment and at least an easy way of scaling some surfaces. You're only going to be able to go maybe like 20 blocks or so. Right-clicking again will retract the hook, of course, and using left-click doesn't really do anything. Now, here's the weird thing. If you do this, you can put it in your inventory. You're still latched to it, so it's kind of a safety line. So if you're like, oh no, I'm going to fall off the edge, not to worry. You can still put it back over here. And then you can try and reel yourself in. It's not always going to work the way that you want it to. There we go. I actually got lucky that time. But yeah, and it'll wind around corners and so on. Now this, the grappling hook modifier, is very, very strong with what it can do for you. And that is basically add in just about all these different kinds of enhancements to it. Now to start with, you're not going to be able to do most of these because you have to attach your different, add-ons as you go in here. And I believe there's actually nothing available. Right. There's nothing available in here to start with. So it's not actually going to do you any good until you start making some of these different upgrades. So let's start at the top. Rope. Rope is a very good one. Let's see here. There we go. Rope grappling hook upgrade. You can see here it takes a base plus another lead. We'll get you that. If I grab this, I make it. Let's say I crafted it up. I'm not in creative, but I can bring things into the world. No big deal. You see here rope. It says category not unlocked. Rope. Please right-click this block with the item rope grappling hook upgrade to unlock. Very simple. So I take this upgrade, right-click, boop, and it is now in this here. Click on here, and it now allows me to extend the length of the rope instead of 30 blocks. I can go up to 60, and I can choose to phase it. And yes, there are tooltips on here, so if you're not sure what rope length is, it's the length of the rope. But you see the idea here, that you'll get lots of tooltips on this. Allows the rope to phase through blocks rather than have a long stuff written in here. It's really good. So let's see, wait, it is currently set what we had before. So now Now it's like, all right, well, wait, that looks about the same. Reason is you need to right-click on your modifier after you've done whatever you did with it with your hook. Boop, and it will upgrade your current grappling hook. So I could make a brand new grappling hook, and there we go, I get this new benefit to it. So if you're, there we go, much further, and your old one will now go much further as well, thanks to that. And of course, I can always choose to reset things so it goes back down to 30. I could even bring it down to 4, you know, or something crazy like that. Click here. It's not going to go too far. But anyway, it is pretty cool. All right, so phasing rope. What this does, click on here, allows you to phase through things. So if I launch this over stuff, it goes through the branches instead of getting hung up on them. So therefore, if I want to, I can be drawn directly to the point that I am attached to, instead of being drawn to the spot that it is stuck on. So if I do this, turn that off, then, oops, I forgot. Whoops, I did it again. There we go. Right click on here. Now if I aim over this tree, you can see the rope is like bent around it. Let me actually kind of scroll out of it. You can see the rope is all bent around the tree and stuff. That is what rope phasing will avoid. So you'll be bound to that specific spot, which actually I do like that to be normal. Now a hook thrower, we're going to upgrade that next, which, as it says in the block down here, hook thrower grappling hook upgrade, which, you know, just a bow and another one of those blank templates. Click on here. It allows you to then enhance this gravity on the hook. Currently it's set at 1. If I wanted to, I could increase it to, let's say, 9. And of course, as you might expect, click on here, it's going to kind of drop almost immediately from that. It's pretty crazy. So that doesn't have a big effect yet. It will later on when you can limit break these things. But the throw speed. So this is the speed of the hook when thrown. I like to have that very, very high. Reason being, I want to have, it's going to like arc and drop. So therefore, it's going to give me a much better accuracy for where I want it to go, instead of having to wait for it to go pew, clink, and land on something. Instead, it's pew, clink, much quicker, much quicker. So then we go crouch to reel in. I can undo that. So therefore, I won't be reeling myself in anymore. Instead, it's just forwards and backwards and stuff will automatically move me in those directions as I would want, instead of holding sneak, which, you know, it doesn't require me to do so anymore, which I like that. I like that. So let's click on here. Hook throw, vertical throw angle, crouching, vertical angle. You've got different things. If I click here and there, actually, let's do it a little bit more. There we go. Vertical throw angle. So now if I click here, you can see it shoots really high up. So if I crouch, you can see that my, like at the top of the screen is a little plus sign. That's where I'm aiming. So if I crouch, it's half that, or much less than half. So therefore I can have a couple of them preset with that. That is what these different throwing angles are. So if you have a bit of a drop off when you, or an arc when you throw these things, that's how that can work. So let's continue on with more of the upgrades. We're going to come back to the motor. Once you get to the motor, everything changes. And then the limit breaker, that changes everything again. So let's continue with swing speed, which we're going to, of course, need a swing grappling hook upgrade to unlock. There we go, a swing grappling hook upgrade. Just need to add one of those in, recipe, some leather boots, feather, and your base upgrade. And swing speed. This allows you to, when swinging, either swing really quickly or very slowly. So let's give an example here. We're going to set it for 0.2. If I click on, oh, actually, perfect. I forgot. I've got this block up here. So if I reel this in, there we go. I can start swinging very slowly with my swing speed. And then I can just let go and fall down to my death. Ah. Okay, so to give an example of a very fast swing speed, oops, wrong one. Click on here, go up there, and let's zoom in a bit. There we go. And then now I can swing around very quick and easy. Whoa, it goes a bit crazy at times with how fast I can go. But it can make for a lot of fun, especially when you're trying to like swing around the world and so on. And this is what this is all about. It's more about having fun with bouncing around the world. I keep landing in the water, duck on it. Anyways, I was saying, it's about having fun with movement and getting around the world, not just trying to vertically climb and do your occasional swing around. So next, I'm going to skip Ender Staff and Force Field because those are also very, very different and unique items. We're going to come back to those though, and we're going to cover the Hook Magnet. This requires, of course, the Hook Magnet Grappling Hook upgrade, which I'll grab that. There we go, and that is, of course, with a compass and a base, and there we go. That is now in place. This will mean that when I launch something, let's say I'm aiming directly at this one point of this up here. Actually, hold on. Here, let's enable this, and it's got an attraction radius of 3 blocks. So let's click on here to enable that. And it sometimes will go with blocks that are nearby. So you see the top of this tree here. If I aim near it, it actually just dropped down instantly and went to it. If I aim underneath this tree, it went up and hooked onto it. So it's kind of got a magnetic hook to it. Therefore, it will now hook onto things within about a 3-block radius that are near to where you're aiming. So you can see it might be a little bit more, though. You can see it just kind of veers off to the side there as well. Zoop off to the side. So it is good, but it can also be bad. So it all depends if you really aren't that bothered with it. Personally, I find that it's more useful than not. Now, the other one is going to be a, this is going to be more interesting here with the Force Field and the Ender Staff. So let me introduce these. First, we've got a magnetic Force Field and the Ender Staff. These are permanently usable items. They don't have durabilities like your grappling hooks do. And they can be used without the grappling hook at all. So first, a magnetic force field. If you click here, we've got iron ingots around a compass, really cheap recipe. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you hover over any of these items, and it will tell you everything you need to know about how to use it, like hold shift to see the controls. There you go, and it tells you all the controls. And it will change depending upon what your hook is set up for. Or you can hold control to see the full configuration. Oh my gosh, it's got all this stuff on it. That is crazy. This one has very little. You know, that one has a few things on it. So you can see each one. It's really, really cool. Very cool setup with that. I like that. It eliminates a lot of like control menu options and so on. But anyway, the force field, magnetic force field. So how this works, you can right click it and you will start bouncing off of surfaces. Basically, you are kind of like the ground is a magnet and you are its repulsor magnet, magnetic force. Therefore, you're kind of bouncing. But if you go at fast enough or at an obtuse or acute enough angle, you might actually hit the ground or water or whatever. And yes, it does work over water. As you can see, I'm bouncing around, and you can get some serious speed with this, let me tell you. So here, let me put it in my offhand, and it still works just fine. Now, if I turn it off, there we go. I land okay, but that's because I've got some of these. Another one of the unique items in this mod is long fall boots, and they're not your traditional long fall boots. They work the same as that, but right-click a grappling hook modifier block with feather falling 4 diamond boots to obtain. So basically, it will transform your feather falling 4 diamond boots to basically these, which is the same thing, but you have infinite fall durability. You can land however you want on there, and as far as I know, I don't think that they actually cancels fall damage when worn. So there you go. Yeah, I'm talking too much. Again, this is really cool. Magnetic force field. You can right-click it while it's in your offhand as well, and then you can use your other item. Which actually, here, let me drop. There we go. Which is your Ender Staff. Launches the player. Now, this is more in a horizontal manner. It doesn't launch you up. Launches you out. As you might have noticed, the magnetic force field has its tendency to launch you up and somewhat out as well. But the Ender Staff is really cheap. Ender Pearl and a piston. And it has infinite durability as well. But here, allow me to use this one. We'll actually take the magnetic force field off for now. Ender Staff. If I use it, boom, it just launches me in a direction. It can launch me somewhat up, you know, like this. It did pretty good. Okay, I take it back. It just launches you. That's pretty much it. Now, you only get one launch per landing. So you have to have touched down on something or the equivalent of it in order to launch again. So if I launch, I can't launch again until I start coming back down again. So that's kind of how that one works. Now, if you want to work these together, there you go. I'm now going to bounce around in the world, and I can just launch and just shoot myself around really, really fast. It's pretty crazy with, oh boy, am I even going to be able to get back? I'm not even using the arrow keys right now. It's pretty ridiculous, bouncing around like a pinball. But you get the idea how this can be very, very strong combination to work with to get around the world without even using grappling hooks. And you're thinking, well, why would I even bother with this? Don't worry, you can get your grappling hooks to be even more OP than that. So let's continue on with the demonstration. Now, Ender Staff and Force Field. Let's do Force Field because it was similar to the hook magnet. Force Field requires a Force Field grappling hook upgrade to unlock. Which, here we go, guess what it involves to make? A magnetic force field and a base grappling hook upgrade. So put that on there, and now we can add on a force field to our grappling hook, which this will basically have a repel force while you're swinging around. So you don't just like go wham into a wall. Instead, you might actually like kind of swing slightly around it or something. Now, it only has a 1 block area, but if you noticed, when I picked stuff up, just by gripping on stuff, I am currently bouncing above the ground. So you've got a bit of a magnetic force in that. It's really cool. It helps you to continue on with the sway of things. So if you get too close to the ground, it will continue propelling you around, and it's a lot of fun in order for you to work it. Now, the other one, of course, the Understaff, requires the Understaff grappling hook upgrade, which, you guessed it, the recipe for it requires an Understaff, which then I put it in here. Understaff upgrade. We're going to put this on here, and this launches the player forward. Well, guess what we can do now? Let's click on here. We now can do this, and if I left click rather, it will launch me in a direction. So while I'm hooked onto this tree, I can launch around, and I can bounce around like absolutely crazy. So let's see if I can actually get back here. There we go. Turn it off and get back up here. Now, here's another thing I forgot to mention, is that if you're currently locked onto something, let's go with a basic grappling hook. There we go. I'm locked onto it. If you jump when you're, being reeled in, you tend to, when you're going up there, let's try this. There we go. You do tend to get a bit of a jump boost. I'm actually not getting a very good result right now. There we go. There we go, and I got a bit of a jump boost there. When you get close to the top, you can launch yourself a bit with it. And that actually applies with even, your mid-tier or your high-end different grappling hooks and so on. So, let's continue on. We've got a good amount of these so far. We've got just about everything except for the motor. All right, the motor is where things really start to change. Let's grab one of these. The motor requires a piston and a base. Really cheap, really easy, and there's a ton of different options in here. First, you're going to want to turn it on. Then, I actually like this, 4 and 0.2. It seems to be pretty good. I might change the acceleration later on once we get the limit break, but this seems to be really good. It can get really, really crazy later on. But motor when crouching. What this allows you to do is it will actually continue like accelerating you towards your target without having to like click. So let's try it with its default settings, and that is motor when crouching, motor when not crouching. I don't want it to motor when crouching. There we go. Actually, there we go. When not crouching. So therefore, it's going to make a difference there. Smart motor. Adjust motor speed so the player moves towards crosshairs. This is really key. So therefore, instead of it drawing you towards a location that you've hung on to, you can turn that on and it will actually allow you to accelerate in a direction that you're aiming at. So therefore, you can swing around a structure instead of slap and smack your face into it. Now you see here, sideways motion dampener. This is actually covered. It's like a darker gray. As it says here, use limits upgrade to unlock. So therefore, that's a really big step in the next one. But for now, motor pulls even if you are facing the other direction, which means if I get to the end of my rope, and it will, and I'm still pulling in this direction off to the left, it will pull me back towards that tree if that's what I had hooked onto. All right, so we now have a motor upgrade. What does this do? Well, I currently have a decent amount of reach, but it seems to be that I have some troubles getting from one to the next. Whoa, but I can still swing around, and it's a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, it's a bit crazy with how fast you can really get yourself going down here. Let's just jump down and run back. You can see how insane that already is. Oof. Well, I currently have one over here that has been even further set up, and that is with Limit's Grappling Hook upgrade, rather. This requires another star, and there's good reason for that. Because if you look at all the things here, maximum length of 60, hook thrower, 1, 5, and so on. Your motor, 4 and 2, etc. All these different things that you have, swing speed of 2. You've got your force field repel force, your hook magnet radius, all that stuff gets increased further. This one over here already has that set up. So rope length, it can go up to 200 now from 60. Hook thrower, you can reduce the gravity to 0. Let me show you what 0 looks like. You see that point up there? Bink. It basically just right where I launch it. Boop, right there. And I'm not even pressing forwards or backwards because I've got the motor enabled on this. Whoa, it gets a little bit jiggy sometimes if you're like up in the air. But it's like pinpoint precision. It's really, really good. So, and anyway, moving on, we've got hook throw speed. You can increase that to 20. So it's almost instantaneous grab on here when you want to. I like having the crouch to reel in turned off. I just want it to automatically reel me in. Vertical and stuff, throw angles are kind of useless at this point because you're just going pew, you're like shooting it directly at a spot you're looking at this point. Motor, like I said, I increase the acceleration up to maximum and I keep the maximum speed around 2 because you can get so crazy with that. Ender staff is the same. Force field, you can get your repel force boosted up, so instead of just being 1 block, it can be 5 blocks, but it's difficult to manage like that. So if I click on, yeah, woof. Just by clicking on something, you can launch yourself into the air. It's pretty important. I like to keep it around 1, just because. Now the traction radius, you can actually hook onto things that are much further away, but I did find that the 3 radius is pretty darn good. Now there is something else that I did not cover yet. That's the double hook, my friends. Double hook, of course, requires a double grappling hook upgrade to unlock, which is this little sucker right here. And that allows you, well, you have to make 2 grappling hooks for it. And it's similar to one of the things that we've already done before, but I didn't upgrade this with the limit breaker upgrade because it's easier to maneuver right now. So just keep that in mind. So let's do this. Double hook. We're going to want to enable it. Smart motor. Adjust motor speed so the player moves towards the crosshairs, left or right when used with the motor. Angle that each hook is thrown from the center and then crouching. And then allow pulling with 1 rope, which I actually do like that. So allow me to demonstrate what the heck that's talking about. You see now I have 3 crosshairs on my screen. If I hit sneak, I now have 3 crosshairs that are much closer. This is where your hooks are going to be launched. So think of Attack on Titan. That's more or less what you now have. You've got a double hook launcher that you can use to launch between 2 areas. It's usually best if you have things like this so that your side hooks line up with stuff. But if you turn on single hook, then you can still get launched around with things. So therefore it will propel you like a slingshot. But, you know, you do have to kind of line it up a bit. And there you go. You can have a lot of fun with that. Ooh. See if I can get over here. It's good for like small narrow passages, and that's why you have the sneak area so that you can actually like launch a little bit easier. There we go. There we go, and I can launch up here potentially. There we go. Launch myself through there. But it's really good for just using around like a city map or something, and you can navigate down the roads and stuff really quick and easy. You don't have to aim for something in the middle. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, and those that watch my streams know that I love my tea. But you can always put the upgrade in if you don't care for it. You can turn it off, and you can change the angle. So if you want your sneak angle to be much closer, let's put it at there we go, 1.1. So then, boop, if I sneak, boop, it's going to be pretty much 2 hooks right there in the front. You can have double hooks in the front if you really want to. You can change that with your regular angles and not just your sneak as well. And I just have a lot of fun with this, with how crazy you can get with this these things. I mean, you can really just set up your own messing around course. Wow, as long as you have some decent TPS rates on a server, even, you can potentially get yourself launched in crazy directions using all the different abilities that you have. And no, I will say that using a magnetic force field in your offhand while you use your grappling hook doesn't work. It instantly shuts off, and then it kind of like glitches out your grappling hook. So don't even try that. It's not worth it. Just trust me on that one. But anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for this bit by bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one today. I know that I did. It's a lot of fun messing around with this one. It took me a while to get used to. Don't expect to just know this straight away. Mess around with it. Have some fun. And of all things, make sure you have yourself some long fall boots. They're really, really important for surviving, because I died countless times before I even tried to put them on. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, be sure to spread the mischief to others. Tell everyone about us so that we can keep giving you all this content. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.